Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
How come nobody's ever tried to be a superhero?
Dude, if anybody did it in real life, they'd get their ass kicked. They'd be dead in like a day.
Welcome back to this week's Monday Movie Show. This is a Blu-ray and DVD section of the show. If you're listening to us on Podcast World, hello. If you're listening to us on Spreaker, welcome back. There's the live chat in the bottom of the screen. We have a few films to review this week. They are...
we have the Anton Fuqua action thriller Olympus Has Fallen. We have the Danish movie A Highjacking. We have the Spanish movie, I'm so excited. We have the horror movie, the Dyalov Pass Incident. We have another horror movie in Detention of the Dead. And we have British gangster drama Get Lucky.
Yep, and on top of that, we will always kick off with the Blu-ray and DVD top 10, so let's get on with that. At number 10, The Smurfs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in there because The Smurfs 2 is out. I didn't dislike it. It was what it did in the tin, barely, but really, I mean, I've seen it once, that's enough for me.
Yeah, it does exactly what it says on the tin, but that tin's been in the cupboard for about 10 years.
Yeah, the tin's been in the cupboard that long that it's turned blue.
I'll let you off with that one. At number 9, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
Better than the what's it? I forget what it is. Sea of Monsters. Better than Sea of Monsters. More solid because I think of director Chris Columbus. The new one is not Chris Columbus directed, and the new one's okay, but this one I kind of enjoyed it. I liked it. It's fun. It's not brilliant. It's not Harry Potter kind of level, but it's enjoyable.
Yep. At number 8 is Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked, which
I'm very sad to admit I have actually seen as well.
So have I actually, because I reviewed it.
Yeah, and I really wish I hadn't, honestly.
Why did you watch it anyway?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. I think I was kind of like sitting there like tied to a chair or something.
Were you or something? Because
no,
I watched it because I had a reviewer for the Blu-ray and DVD section of the show.
I've got a feeling I must have been tied to a chair and not had the use of my arms, because if I had when I was watching it, I would have stuck a pencil in my ear.
Yeah, it's awful.
It really is.
And any movie that features high-pitched somebody singing a Lady Gaga song, then you definitely know it's awful. And number 7 is Django Unchained.
Could have been worse. They could have got Amanda Seyfried to sing in it.
Oh God, no! Just imagine if she did sing like she did in Les Miserables, but they actually made that high-pitched.
All the glasses would shatter. Django Unchained, absolutely fantastic. I love it. Apart from Quentin Tarantino's Australian appearance, which is going to be one of the worst cameos ever in the world. This is something I was talking with someone today, and we're like, really, Australian? What was that? And everything else in it, absolutely brilliant. Christoph Waltz, absolutely fantastic. Jamie Foxx, absolutely fantastic. Brilliant.
Good day, mate. That's a better Australian accent than what Quentin Tarantino comes up with. And number 6 is a new entry for Scary Movie 5.
Which is just really... We didn't need 3, we didn't need 4, we don't need this. It's a complete rip-off of Mama, which I'm not particularly partial to that as a film because it kind of scared me, but this is just like, really... I'm watching a spoof of Mama. And I'd rather be watching Mama because at least with that I felt something.
4 too many, because the first one is actually quite funny. But
the second one has its moments as well.
No, it's still weak.
No, the second one has a great moment when the opening scene in the cinema. I love that. Brilliant.
And number 5 is The Place Beyond the Pines,
which is a very good... It's a trilogy in one film, basically. It's very well written, very well performed. A bit long in the middle with the story. There's basically 3 stories: one around Ryan Reynolds, one around Bradley Cooper, and one arond Caleb Landry Jones. I think is the other actor.
Like that.
And their stories are linked and connected, intertwined at certain points. And it's a very good film, but unfortunately, kind of the pacing is where it suffers.
See, it's a trilogy of stories. Peter Jackson, if you're listening, get the point. You could have condensed The Hobbit down to a 2.5-hour, 3-hour movie, not three 3-hour films. Sorry. Number 4 was Evil Dead. No, it wasn't. He could have done that.
Evil Dead. I mean, it is just a gore fest. There's nothing funny about it. It's impressive on a practical effects standpoint because it's very well done. It's all practical effects. There's hardly any CG effects in it, and for that it should be seen. But for the story, it's an unnecessary. Well, it's not a remake. It's not a prequel. It's not a sequel. It's I don't know what it is really, but
homage.
It's really unnecessary. But technically, from that standpoint, it's worth seeing.
I'll probably just still buy it on Blu-ray just because I wanted a gory film. Number 3 is The Jungle Book.
I mean, that's just been re-released because Disney like to delete their films every now and again and then release them after a while. It's the original animation about the boy raised by wolves and living in the jungle. And, I mean, it's not the best of Disney's classic animations, but it's still a classic animation.
Number 2 is Despicable Me.
What more can we say? I loved it. I love Despicable Me 2 more.
And at number 1 is A New Entry for Oblivion.
Which you and I have a slight agreement, but a little bit of a disagreement on. I really loved it. You just liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely Blu-ray is it's one of those discs that you get it to. It's a demonstration disc. It looks amazing on Blu-ray. Sounds amazing. And the thing is, the film, I really enjoyed it. I love it. It's kind of a pastiche of loads of other science fiction films, but I think it works.
And you had a problem with the box, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I mean, the box is it's a white case weird thing. If you've seen it in the shops, you'll know what I'm talking about. Absolutely horrendous. But one of the supermarket chains, I'm not going to say which one it is, but one of the supermarket chains has it in the normal box, and I didn't buy it on the white box. I was actually discouraged by this white box because it's horrible. So I went and got it from this normal box from this particular chain.
Is that particular chain Every Little Helps?
I'm trying to
or
think
is
if that's
the
right.
4-letter one?
No, it's not the 4-letter one.
So is it the Every Little Helps one?
Yeah, it must be.
The one begin with T and ends in Escort. Put it together. Let's get into an ad break before we get sued by loads of other supermarkets, and we'll be back with our first review.
You say you want a podcast that's adequate but tries, where ham hock, bouncy ball and Dalek sex talk drivel about their lives, where Satan reads us his top 5 list and robots read us the news about games, pop culture and internet. You better shoot through to iTunes. The things we say will please your ears in an impure way. The things we say. We are the Lollicast.
Whoa! Dr. Hawk!
We are the Lollicast, Season 4, talking piffle about out on Spreaker and iTunes. Follow us at We Are the Lollicast with a letter R.
So welcome back. It's time to kick off with the reviews, with the first one being Olympus Has Fallen. It's directed by Antoine Fuqua. So I'm glad I got directed messed up, but not Fuqua messed up. That would have been a major Freudian slip.
Yeah, that's a weight off your mind.
Yes, we've still not uttered a swear word yet, even though me and Andy has played a clip and they have had a swear word in it by accident. So we've still yet to utter a swear word. But yeah, it stars Gerard Butler, and he plays Mike Bannon, who is a Secret Service agent at the start of the film. He's assigned to the president to look after them. It's set during Christmas. An incident happens. It is shown in the trailer, so can I give the incident away?
I would say yeah, because it's in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, so an incident happens where the president's wife is killed. The car it crashes into a bridge and the car goes over. The president gets rescued, but the wife doesn't. She dies. It fast forwards, I think, something like 18 months later, because I noticed a mistake where it's supposedly set in June, but if they went with the proper timeline, but it actually should have been set in July. And so Mike Bannon is no longer working for the president anymore. The president has got people from South Korea coming over, and obviously it's an action movie, so Why are they there? This huge, massive plane crashes into the White House, and you discover that the South Koreans want to take the president hostage because the president has got something called Olympus, which they want to be able to turn the tides into their favour. Here's a clip.
We have contact from inside the White House. Trace confirms it's the president's sat phone.
Put it through. Mr. President?
Negative.
Identify yourself.
Echelon 4.
It's one of yours?
Designator.
Oscar Zulu 309er.
Jesus, Banning? Where are you?
In the Oval Office. There's the president in the bunker. Can we trust him?
Banning was one of our best agents.
Mr. Speaker, I just have to say, this is Mike Banning. Is this the same guy that was removed from the president's detail after the accident where we lost the first lady?
Well, what's
You
he
want to
doing in
add
the White
something?
House
I
right
suggest
now?
you get
How
the
do we
facts
know
straight.
we can trust this guy?
Banning is ex-Special Forces, Ranger Battalion. He will move mountains or die trying. I know him.
Does anyone else in this room have any intelligence coming out of the White House? And we have no choice.
Yes, the president's in the bunker. He's being held hostage.
What do they want?
We're trying to find out.
Well, who's in charge?
Trumbull, are there any survivors with you?
Negative, sir. They wiped us out.
So Mike Bannon, he's noticed everything that's gone wrong. He tries to head towards the White House to rescue the president. He's locked inside the White House. He's the only person who's in there. And then with the help of characters played by Morgan Freeman, who actually stands in as the acting president of sorts, because of what's happening with Aaron Eckhart, who is the president, and Angela Bassett, who plays the director. And they obviously need to work together to try and stop what the South Koreans want to do. The film itself is completely dumb. It is one of these stupid, dumb action movies. It came out not long after the fifth Die Hard film, and this was referred to as Die Hard in the White House. And we said this when we reviewed it in the cinema, that this should have been what Die Hard 5 should have been. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like a Die Hard movie without John McClane in it. And for that, it's really entertaining. It does feel like an old-fashioned Die Hard movie, and I think that's what Antoine Fuqua wanted with the movie, and it works. It's a popcorn film. It doesn't try to be anything more than a popcorn film, because you've got White House Down, which is out next Friday, or is it this Friday? Next Friday. It's next Friday.
Next Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got White House Down, which is out next Friday, which we will be reviewing in a couple of weeks' time, which is directed by Roland Emmerich, which looks completely over the top. Majorly over the top, and this one is just wants to try and be an action film with really dodgy special effects. It's only got, I think, got a budget of like 25 million, so the budget isn't big on this movie, and you can definitely see it because the special effects are very comical, especially the Spire. There's a scene which involves Spire in it. I don't know what the budget was on it. I thought the budget was around about the 25 million.
No, it's going to be more than that. I'm going to have to actually have a look.
Yeah, so it's a good, entertaining popcorn film, the kind of movie where if you've got friends around and you want to have a few beers and you want to stick on a movie, instead of sticking on Die Hard and you want to watch something more new, watch this. It works well in the cinema, it works well at home. I thought it was quite enjoyable. Brain dead, but quite enjoyable.
Budget of 70 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, 70 million without special effects? There are some special effects in the film which are fine, but one of the special effects which
sequence, yeah,
it's really horrible. So I can't see 70 million there. Considering that we reviewed Elysium and that's got a budget of around about 100 million, and that looks a million times better. So it's still really, it's an enjoyable brain dead film with dodgy special effects.
Really bad choice of effects, Ash. I'm going to go on to a hijacking, or as it's called in its Danish title, Kapringen, or I don't know if it's Kapringen. I don't know.
Pass.
It's called, yeah. But it's written and directed by Tobias Lindholm, and it's about a group of people aboard a tanker a cargo tanker at sea, who are then overtaken by Somalian pirates. They're held captive, and it's this story that a lot of people will be familiar with from the news and press about these people who are in captivity, while at the same time there are negotiations going on with the company that owns the tanker and is in charge of the ship and the crew and is trying to negotiate for their release. Here's a clip.
We normally bring an outsider in, a trained communicator, who will work on our behalf and actually negotiate for us. We'll tell them the information that we want to be passed over to the pirates, which will be agreed in this room. We give it to our communicator, and then he talks to the pirates. If you look at it, it's your vessels, your crew, ship, etc., etc. If you're emotionally involved, you're thinking with your heart and not with your head. And that's when mistakes happen, and we can't afford that to happen.
You're telling me to call in a guy from outside to actually do the negotiation with the pirates?
Correct.
That's what you're telling me?
I'm advising you to, Peter.
As I see it, you're trying to replace me with someone from outside. This is my company. I am the CEO here. This is my responsibility to take care of this situation. It's my ship. It's my crew. It's my job to bring back my man.
So then, as we see, this goes on for a number of weeks and things that stretched out as we cut back and forth between the captives on the ship. The main person, one of them is the chef on the ship, Mikkel, played by Pillar Asbæk, and you have there Peter, who is the man in charge at the company, who's basically standing in place. Søren Malling playing him as the one in charge of the negotiation. Now, here's the thing with this. I actually went and saw, a while back, I went and saw Mud at the cinema, and I went to a particular small venue cinema because it was the only place I could find that was showing it at the time. And this was showing at the same time. And I saw the trailer for it then, and I was very curious at the time, but I didn't have a chance to see it. I wish I had gone and see it, because now finally seeing this, I can say this is an absolutely brilliant film. It's a very harsh film. It's a very tense film at points, especially during the negotiation scenes, which take place over the phone, which is surprising how tense it can be. And it's kind of very drawn out, but it's a real good study of this situation that really does occur a lot more than you'd think with the whole thing of Somalian pirates. And it's not graphic. You don't see the takeover. It starts off with the ship and them saying, "Oh, we've got these ships incoming," and they radio it in. Then it cuts to the company, and the company then goes, this carrier has gone dark. We've not heard anything from them. We think they've been taken over. Then it cuts back to the ship, and you find the Somalian pirates are already there. They've already taken hold of everyone, and they're basically issuing everyone to get into a room together and hold them captive. So you don't see the takeover, but it's not really about that. It's about the situation that the people that are imprisoned go through, and the kind of the mental anguish that they suffer because of this. Whereas then you've got back at the company, you've got the people that are then trying to negotiate their sort of anguish that they're having with dealing with it, even though it's not in the same kind of region, same kind of thing as the people on the ship are experiencing, but they are too getting stressed out and struggling to deal with this because of the fact of that it's so kind of emotionally wrecking. Not to mention as well them having to deal with the families of the people who've been kidnapped. It's a real good drama, it's a real good thriller. It's partly in Danish, partly in English. It switches back and forth between the two languages quite a bit, and some people I know will struggle with that and with subtitles, but for me, didn't have a problem with that. I found that quite realistic, because you have people speaking English, people speaking Danish, and people in between who speak both, and I thought it was really well done. It's kind of like a documentary in the way it's shot, which gives it this natural, this realistic feel, and I have to say, I think this is going to be in my top 10 films at the end of the year.
Right, next up is I'm So Excited. It's directed by Pedro Almodovar, who you might as well say was responsible for bringing Guillermo del Toro to the forefront. He was involved with The Devil's Backbone, which I think it was Guillermo del Toro's second film after doing Kronos, and Pedro Almodovar was the producer on that, and sort of like brought Guillermo del Toro into the forefront. So I need to thank him for that, but I need to hate him for this. So it gives you a clue of what this film's like. It's a Spanish movie. It's set on board a plane, a Spanish airline plane, where it has a problem with landing. Two of the blocks that normally gets took away from the plane's wheels has actually been left there, even though at the start of the film you see all 4 blocks being taken away from the wheels. So I don't know where he got the idea from, but yeah, 2 of the blocks being left in the wheels, and the plane can't land, and it needs to try and find an airstrip where it's being cleared so they can land. The people in economy class have been drugged, so they don't know what's going on. A few people in business class have been left undrugged, and so they know what's going on. And slapstick ensues in the cockpit and in the business class, where you've got people who are scared, and there's this woman who's annoying all the time. She's really stuck up, and she just wants to get people fired, etc. And then you've got these airline stewards who decide to sing a song, I'm so excited, and do this dance routine. And then you've got this woman also who wants to lose her virginity, so she just has sex with somebody who's asleep in an economy class. And all the while, this is supposed to be a comedy. It's just, I have no words to express how stupid this movie is. Pedro Almodovar should be ashamed of himself. It's not funny at all. There's no characters you like in this movie. There isn't any jokes in this movie at all. It's boring. It's on for 90 minutes. And while I was watching it, when I'm bored, I check my watch or see how long I've been watching the film for. I see how long I was watching this for, and it was only half an hour through it. And I was thinking about switching it off. But obviously I stuck through it to the end, and it's awful. It's really awful. None of the jokes are funny. The acting is terrible. The dance sequence is cringeworthy. Just everything about this movie is terrible, and Pedro Almodovar should be majorly ashamed of himself because he's an Oscar-winning director. He's a director who can do brilliant dramas, who can do brilliant films, yet he decides to think that this is a pet project of his, and he decides to do a movie where it's just so small and scaled back, and he can quickly do it. Yet he made an absolute dog's dinner of it. He should be majorly ashamed of himself, and that film should be majorly avoided.
I'm kind of disappointed with that. From what you were telling me, I was kind of expecting a rant.
No, it's awful. It doesn't even deserve it.
Okay, the Dyalov Pass Incident, and that is the correct, well, at least it seems to be the correct pronunciation of it, because that's how it's pronounced in the film, which is about a group of people who go to film a story, film a documentary about something which is referred to as the Dyalov Pass Incident, where during the 1950s there was a group of an expedition of explorers who went there and then were found several days later without any of their camping equipment and not wearing things like shoes. They were all found frozen and dead in the snow. The movie then follows these 5 characters who have then gone to investigate this, and it's a kind of like one of these mockumentary found footage things, which then it tells the story of what happens to these 5 people when sort of weird things happening and they start finding things like footprints around their camping equipment. Here's a clip.
So we woke up this morning and we found something weird. Footprints lurking between these 2 rocks and around the tents. The shape is weird. See how big that one is? And then the other one is even bigger. 2 different sets. 2 different people.
Whoa, people?
I'm not talking about Yetis, Jensen.
Oh, come on, look at the size of these things. What else could do that?
I don't know, a bear, a snow tiger?
A snow tiger?
Snow tigers are all extinct, genius.
It gets weirder. Anyone hiking in this kind of snow needs specialized boots. They need to have a lot of grip, so they either have spikes or very defined grooves. But these are smooth. Whoever it was, they were barefoot. Now, Andy tells us that as low as the temperature gets at night here, you'd lose your toes in 10 minutes.
Which would explain a Yeti.
It's not a freaking Yeti.
How do you know?
Because Yetis don't freaking exist.
You don't
exist. For God's sake, Jensen.
Okay, we're rolling.
None of the footprints lead into or out of the camp. It's like something dropped out of the sky, walked around in barefoot while we were sleeping, and then took off again.
So the group then go further into the mountains and investigate sort of things that they find, amongst other things, a metal door, which they kind of question why this is there, and also the mysterious thing of why the locks on the metal door are on the outside and not on the inside. So here's the thing with the Dyalov Pass Incident. We really have had enough, I think, of these found footage films, because it's just getting a bit boring and repetitive now. There are moments in this where it kind of starts to set up a bit of the mystery of things, like that clip that you heard about them finding these footprints and that kind of thing happening, and then it delves into the whole thing of it goes a weird other direction the further on the film goes. And there's some nice touches, things like there's an avalanche that happens which is caught and shot and works visually, It's quite well done, and the chaos of that, because the thing is as well, a lot of this movie takes place at night or in darkness, in dark situations, and it's kind of like that they're making it, they're going, oh, we need to make it scary, oh, let's do this, let's just film in the dark and make it so that for about 5 minutes each time nobody can see what's going on, the camera can't see what's going on, and make it, and the thing is, again, make it one of these things that it's found footage, so of course people were running around and things were happening to them, of course, yeah, they were still holding the camera and filming. I mean, really, just no, it's annoying. The more it goes on, the more these things happen, and you literally get to a point and you're going, why are you filming this? If I was you, I wouldn't be filming this. I would have dropped the camera. Who cares about the camera? And really, that's kind of how I feel about the film. Who cares about the film?
Yeah, Booger, it's called the Dyalov Pass Incident, not Atlock Pass Incident.
Dyalov. Sorry, yeah, Dyalov. I keep trying to pronounce it right. That is how it's pronounced in the film, because I thought it was Dyatlov something when I was reading about it before, but apparently it is Dyatlov, Dyatlov. But it could have been called, the Pass Incident, as in being passed.
It was called something else in America, wasn't it?
I don't know, and really I don't care.
I'm sure it was called something else in America. It's called Devil's Pass.
Devil's Pass. That is a better title. That is a better title. Because the thing is, it's about these people are going to film a documentary about something that really did happen. If you look up the Dyalov Pass Incident and ignore any references to this film, there is actually a thing, the Dyalov Pass Incident, which is a true thing. About 1959, group of explorers went out into these mountains and they disappeared, and then they were found later, completely frozen in weird circumstances. They weren't wearing anything on their feet, and there was no sign of their camping equipment, which was found somewhere else later on. They were nowhere near it. So, what were they doing out middle of the night, freezing their toes off? And why would they be there? And it just don't. If you're going to do something like this, don't make it up and go along. Do a proper thing. Investigate it.
Right, next up is Detention of the Dead. It's directed by Alex Craig Mann. Now, stop me if you've heard this before. Let me actually get at least past the first sentence, because I know you're going to stop me instantly. A group of high school students are put in detention, and a zombie outbreak happens.
That's like Class of 1999 with zombies.
That's it. That's the storyline of it. A group of high school students, including the geek, the typical high school students as well. There's no black kid, but there's an Asian guy, there's a geek, there's this blonde-haired girl who's completely dumb. You've got 2 jocks in this one, so not 1, 2 jocks for the price of 1, and the goth chick. And they're put in detention, and then a zombie outbreak happens at the school. They need to try and find a place in the school where they can hold up. They find this library where they hold up in this library, and they need to try and survive. That's the whole premise of Detention of the Dead.
And sounds like The Faculty with zombies instead of aliens.
Yeah, the difference is between this and most of them is this takes about 5 minutes before the zombies pop up. So you only get 5 minutes of having to see what these characters are like, and then you get the zombies. And the zombies are so slow. You've got like slow zombies in films, and then you've got fast running zombies in films. These are like put in rewind. They are so slow. There's a scene in the movie where the kids have actually sandwiched themselves in between 2 packs of zombies, and they're just moving in time with the zombies moving. And then you've got the geek who decides to just run underneath them, and he's able to slide underneath them perfectly because they are so badly slow. Yeah,
it sounds like Monty Python sketch.
It is a comedy. It's a comedy. It's not a straightforward horror film. It is a comedy. There are a few lines in the movie which are quite funny. It's coming from the Asian lad who was just high through most of the film. And so he says most of the funny lines. But they're the typical kind of funny lines that you expect in the movie. There's a bit of gore in the film as well. Not a lot of gore, considering that's an 18 and it's a zombie film. But it's just... I didn't hate it, which is... I think that's a good thing. But it's just a very nothing movie. It's a meh movie. For a zombie fan like myself, I love brain dead zombie films, but this just doesn't even belong on that kind of shelf. It belongs on sort of like the beige kind of grey shelf, where it's just a film.
I like that. Film.
Yep, that's a film. We need a new category of blockbusters. Films.
You got any films?
Yeah. Oh, we have Detention of the Dead. That's very.
I dare anyone to go into the Whiz Beach branch of a certain rental video shop where one of our friends named Nathan works there, and ask him that. I dare you go in there and say to him, he'll love me for this. Go in there and say, have you got any films?
And if he asks, where did you hear that from? Don't say it's from us, because he'll probably hurt us badly.
He won't hurt you, but I'm going to be meeting him in about a month, so he'll hurt me. I'm going to go on to the last film this week, which is Get Lucky. It's a British sort of gangster crime thriller directed by Sacha Bennett. It stars Luke Treadway as Lucky, who is him at the start of the film. He is grabbed by a couple of guys, hood over his head, stuck in a car, brought to his place, where it turns out it's actually his brother, who is played by T.G. Romini, who is basically taking him as a kind of a joke thing. Oh yeah, and he takes him off to a party and they celebrate because he hasn't been around for a long time. He's just arrived back in the country. Things seem to be going okay. Lucky is just sort of doing a sort of normal day thing. He sees this girl, meets her in a pub, and then starts sort of dating her. Things are sort of going okay, and then one day one of his friends who he's not seen for a while turns up. And he ends up getting involved in a heist. Basically, he gets in a car, driving a car, and ends up finding out that there and then that he is the getaway driver. Things don't quite go to plan. Turns out that they have robbed a casino, which is then belonging to a crime boss. And Lucky then has to try and find £150,000 to pay back this crime boss. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble, as you are. So then he has to go and look at trying to find another way of being able to pay off his money. And as you can imagine, being a gangster film and the underworld thing of London, it kind of gets a little bit messy and a little bit violent. Here is the thing with Get Lucky. It's really, at best, an average film. It's not especially brilliant, well put together. The acting in it isn't especially brilliant. There's moments in it which you kind of watch it and you kind of... I honestly rolled my eyes at a couple of moments from the performances alone, which were kind of almost cringe-inducing. But it's not a bad film. It's kind of like a rough cut of something. It has elements that work for it. It has some weird moments in it which actually made me laugh, and they were trying to make me laugh. They were funny moments. A couple of things happened which involving things like a girl who's got asthma, who's doing something very energetic, as you can imagine, and then needing her inhaler, and it just literally one of these moments I was just like, this is just stupid and bizarre but funny. And there's moments like a couple of moments like that in the film. So if you like British gangster films, it's not brilliant, but it'll probably be you'll probably like it and enjoy it. But definitely one to rent with lowered expectations, and only for really someone who loves the genre of the London British gangster, because it's all sort of centered around that atmosphere, that scene. But I mean, it's not brilliant. It's not bad. It's just, as I say, average, and has a few laughs in it.
Well, that's it for reviews of this week. TV movie of the week.
Oh, well, let's see. What one have you chosen, Stuart?
Well, I had a look through, see what was out, and there's actually nothing much on, to be honest. So I just copped out and went with all the Studio Ghibli films that Film 4 showing. So Tuesday they've got Spirited Away on at 11 o'clock in the morning. That is. Wednesday it's Princess Mononoke at 11 o'clock. Thursday it's Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind at 11 o'clock. Friday is Pompoko at 11 o'clock. Saturday it's Howl's Moving Castle at 4:30. And Sunday is Laputa, Castle in the Sky at 4:45. No Stand By Me ? Because Stand By Me was on Sunday. So if you listen to you are listening to this Boogle Live, but anybody else who's listening to this in podcast world, it was on a Sunday.
They'll be wondering why you said that. It's because Boogle asked "Stand By Me?" in chat.
Stand By Me.
I said to you before the show, I wasn't going to tell you what it was, but I picked a film as well, and I know you're gonna hate me for it. But I have picked, believe it or not, What Happens in Vegas.
Okay, why?
Because I quite enjoyed it, and it's a kind of fun one of these romantic comedies that's stupid, and it's one of these ones that's set up in a bizarre situation, and then the typical thing of someone starts off like this happens, and they end up like this, and it's one of those ones that someone asked me once, name a good romantic comedy, and I had a thing, and I was like, I had a thought. I was thinking for a while, and I was like, okay, yeah, I have to say, What Happens in Vegas. So I think it's a fairly good romantic comedy. It's funny. It's not brilliantly funny, but there's moments in it that made me laugh from start to beginning, start to end. And although it's Cameron Diaz, who's not one of my favourite actresses, she's perfectly fine in it. And so is, I forget his name, Ashton Kutcher as well, who I'm looking forward to seeing in playing Steve Jobs.
Yeah, Booger's going to be really happy then, because you've chose the kind of genre that he loves.
Well, I think actually I said to him at one point about this. I said to see this film because it's not bad for a romantic comedy. It's quite fun. So now he's got a chance. Thursday 29th on Film 4 at 9 p.m.
Woohoo. Right, shout outs, go to our website, mondaymovieshow.co.uk. You can check us out on Twitter as well, at Monday Movie Show. I'm at Cryptic Tadpole, Andy's at EHDVD. You can also check the show out on Facebook, on YouTube, iTunes, Spreaker. Leave us a comment, tell us what you think of the show, if you hate us, if you like us. Leave us a rating on iTunes as well. We want to find out your feedback, we want to know what you think of it. You've also got followingthenerd.com. Their show goes out on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock. There's the Sound Foundation, which there's the charity that we all support. There's Holocaust as well. Don't know when they're actually going to air an episode. It just seems to be really random. I think they just pick a date out and just go, we'll throw something out then. You've got
You've really no love for Bouncy this evening, have you?
No, which he probably agrees with me anyway. You've got the Gamescast as well, which they've actually been doing steady shows every Friday night at 9 o'clock or 9:30, whenever they decide to go with whatever time. So. And you've got From Page to Screen, From Page to Number 2 Screen, which I've just done the standard film show. Andy, you'll be involved in a British movie show this week sometime.
Yeah, I think we're going to be doing it Wednesday or Thursday, so it'll be ready. Hopefully, be ready out sort of next weekend.
Yep. So before we disappear, movie of the week.
Despite my trepidations about it, I would have to say Elysium.
Yep, Elysium for me as well. We will be back next week, same time at 7:30, where we will be looking at films including You're Next and Pain and Gain. That should be fun. And on DVD, we'll be reviewing Star Trek Into Darkness, and I'll finally have seen Mud. So, Andy, you'll be interested in seeing what I thought about that. So, yeah,
my favourite film of the year so far.
Really? So, high praise for that. Then I'll be seeing that then, and so I'll review it next week, same time, 7:30. So, until then, goodbye.
Susanna, Trent's here. This is his new girlfriend, Pam.
Hi, Susanna.
Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, but you know what? Don't come down. Just stand there brooding. Oh, you brought me a man. How thoughtful. Hello, sailor. Well, who is this in all his awkward stage glory?
This is my son, Duncan.
Everybody lends a hand.
Oh, my God. I was going to name my youngest Duncan, but my ex-husband thought it was too nerdy, so we went with Peter, which personally I think is worse, but it suits my son, so... Oh, don't worry. You wear the name well.